basically what an event is that an event is a reaction to an action that the user does. You understand? So it's just like Newton's third law. So there's always going to be a reaction to every action. To every action, there's a reaction. You understand? So that's basically what an event is. So event is saying, okay, something happened due to what the user did on the web page. So what exactly happened? Is it that the user clicked something? Is it that the user scrolled on something? Is it that the user changed something? Or is it that the user reloaded the page? You understand? That's like a reaction to a particular action made by the user. So that's basically what an event is. Event is saying something occurs due to the what? Due to the action of the user. So, and I gave examples, a lot of examples in that class that I still feel like I think everybody should understand it, because I asked questions in that class that do we understand? And everybody was like, you understand. So what I just want everybody to do is, if you have any issues and you know you don't understand, please let's just know in the class, so that on every new classes, we just know that, okay, we won't have to go back. And again, there's one thing I've always said, let us go back to read all of these things. It's very, very much important. So let's go back to read all it. Let's try and have more examples, right? Do not just rely on the examples in class. Just try and do more examples on your own, and that's how you get it. If you do not now understand that example, and you maybe reach out to me, I can now like, okay, this is how it is, how it is, how it is. That's how you can improve in JavaScript. JavaScript is one of those languages that you cannot improve by just listening in class. It's not possible. But it's never possible. By what you learn in class, it's not possible. What makes you better in JavaScript is what you do out, like, the continuity in learning, in practicing. That's what makes you better in JavaScript. So that's basically what events are. And I gave us an example. Now, for instance, this signing button, when I clicked on signing, you note something. It is actually loading, and then automatically what happens? It's going to load up my dashboard. Why? Because I clicked on the signing button after inputting my details, and then something happens. That's an event, a reaction to a particular action done by the user. So that's basically what an event is. Coming, I think I have to like. Yeah, it's connected. It's connected. What's the moment? Let me see if I can press it. Okay, so I so last two classes for last week, I don't think I uploaded them. But I think I didn't upload any of them. So that was a very, very big mistake on my part. Very sorry for that. So I'm gonna try and upload everything today. Today, tomorrow past week. So Monday, Tuesday, and today's recording, I'll upload everything today so that we'll have access to it. Okay, for week 8 is last week now. This is week 9. I uploaded for Monday last week. I did not upload Tuesday. Yeah. So I did not upload for Tuesday. So I'll upload Tuesday and today's I'll upload them today. So yeah, that's that about that. Now I'm going to just go ahead and we're going to go ahead and we're going to work on a project maybe this week, maybe on Wednesday, right? We're going to work on a project on Wednesday. Now, what's that project going to be? Project is basically going to tell us, okay, this is exactly how to use JavaScript in HTML. You have to implement JavaScript, you have to do this, you have to do that. That is what that project is going to be focused on. So we're going to work on two projects. The first is a tip calculator. And what do I mean by a tip calculator? Tip calculator in the sense that, for instance, you go to a restaurant and you want to order something. So there's always a waiter for every table, right? So now, maybe that waiter did an excellent job. I'd be like, oh, I think I need to tip this person. So what you do is that you calculate the whole bill plus the waiter's maybe you want to tip the waiter 5% or 15% of the total bill. You use that tip calculator to calculate everything. and then you just make payments to the waiter. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be creating a ticket. Now, what this is going to do for you is that this is going to help you understand how to use your DOM, how to use your events, right? And also how to use some mathematical methods in JavaScript. Now, why are mathematical methods important? Mathematical methods are very, very important in the sense that now you won't do too much calculation, but you should also know how to manipulate those calculations, because for sometimes I give an example. If you are going to create a e-commerce website, right? You're going to do calculations because it involves money. You need to know how to calculate, how to get the right input and the right amount. You understand? So that you not do jail. You understand it? So that's just basically one thing about calculation. So and especially for those that probably have these aspirations in working in fintech companies or maybe crypto space, you might also need all of these calculations to know how to handle transactions. So that's basically why we're going to be doing this as a base project. Then also we'll move on to other projects. We'll work on very small projects first. We'll work on Palindrome. So we've done Palindrome before, right? But that time that we did Palindrome, which was basically on the was on the what? On the console, right? But this time around, I want to make it much more effective. We're going to be getting form inputs, right? So we're going to create a form for each user. User will input their name, input everything, or input whatever word it is, and then we're going to go ahead and what? Change it back. So we've done the function before. It's still the same function, only that this time around, you're now making it much more effective on HTML DOM. Now, those are the two projects we're going to be working on Wednesday and maybe on Friday also. So we'll work on them. Then next week, we'll move on to more higher projects. So we'll work on API every Friday now to the end of the we're going to be working on big projects. Next week, we're going to API manipulation. And then on Friday, we'll work on the big project on API manipulation. How to fetch data, how to even create a weather application, how to fetch data from, so let's say, for instance, I'm trying to fetch an API, a map data, trying to integrate map into your application. How exactly are you going to do all of these things? So we're going to talk about all of these things in detail. Then we'll go into Firebase as soon as possible. All right, so now let us continue with today's topic. So I'm going to explain this again a little bit today. Events and DOM. Please, I need everybody's attention on this because we won't be going back to it. So if you know that you have any question on this, please ask me so that we will just explain and decipher all of these things today. So nobody's gonna have issues with it again. So now we're going to be talking about events and we're going to be talking about DOM, JavaScript DOM. Now, what are events? I explained that events are reaction to actions done by users. So what exactly are these actions? For instance, if I click on this button, something popped up, right? Which is make draft. So if I click on make draft, now what happens? It's going to change from published to what? Drafted. So you see it now, drafted. So course has not been draft. That is an event. And what is that event? The event changed. That's a change event. It changed something. Now, on click is saying that, okay, once I click on something, something has to happen. So, for instance, if I click on logout, right? Can you see logout? If I click on logout now, what happens? That is an on-click event. It automatically logs me out. So you see it now. It logs me out, and then I have to log in again. That is on-click. Now, that's basically what an event is. Event is just saying, oh, if you do something, there has to be like should I say an action, a reaction to an action. That's basically what an event is. Now, in JavaScript, we have a lot of events, a lot of them. So we'll talk about some. We have the click event, we have the load event, we have the change event, we have mouse over, on mouse over. We have a lot of them on mouse over. We have a lot of events. Now, because of our time, I'm only going to focus on click because we've done all of these things before. Try load and change. Done them. Focus on click today. Then I expect everybody to still go ahead and make research on the rest of them because we don't load and change. I will upload the video so you can watch it. So that is basically now what is click? The click event is a response or a reaction to a click action. So what am I saying? A user comes to your website and they click a button. If they click a button, something has to happen. That's a reaction to clicking. That's what click is. So if I say, oh, whenever a user clicks a particular button, something has to happen. That is what that click event is saying. So what do I mean by this? So I'm going to remove this so that we don't get confused again. All right, now let's go ahead and create a button here. So I'm going to create a p tag first, and that p tag is going to have an ID of let's say new. Now I want to note something. There is nothing in this p tag. Can we all see it? Nothing. Now what do we want to do? What we want to do is that we want to now have a button that is down here, right? Now on this button will say click me. Now, once you click this button, what do we want? We want a new message to display inside of this p tag that says you've just clicked me. That is a what? Click. That's an event. The event is saying, oh, after you've clicked this button, this is supposed to what? Come up and show here that, oh, you've clicked. So we're going to give this button an ID of btn, and then in our JavaScript, we're going to bring it in. Now, how do we bring this p tag? So we can say document, because we've done this before, dot what? Query selector, and then the p tag is going to be what? Hash new, because why? That is a what? An ID. If it was a class, it's going to be what? Dot new, but it's an ID. Now, similarly, I'm going to bring the button in also. So we're going to say document dot what? Query selector, and then we're going to have hash btn. Now, this document of query selector, I'm just going to say const let's say word equals to, so set it to a variable. Then similarly, we're going to say const btn, which is button equals to, so we also set this to a variable. Now, what we have to do now is that we now have to give this button a click event. That whenever this button is clicked, what should happen? There is something should what display in this place. That, oh, you've clicked me. So how are we going to do it? But we can do it in two ways. Either we use an attribute, either we use event attributes, or we use an event listener. Now, these are the two ways in which you can do it. List now. Okay. I don't know if this is correct. All right. But either we use an event attribute or an event listener. Now, event attribute only works in your JavaScript. Sorry, only works in your HTML. Again, event attribute works in your HTML as an attribute. What are attributes again? They give additional information to a particular tag, right? Now, that is what your event attributes are. Your event listener work in your JavaScript. So this one is your what? HTML. This one is your what? Your JavaScript. You understand it now? So this particular event, what you do here is that what? You give all the functionalities in JavaScript, and then you call the function name in your HTML. You know, if you are defining the function, remember what I said? You define a function, give the function all the properties that you want to give to it, and call it out, right? Now, you do all of that in HTML, right? But in this case, right, if you are using your attributes, what you do is that what you define a function in your JavaScript, then go to your HTML to call out the function. You understand? Now that's what search. Now, how do we do it? Let me just show us what I'm saying. So, for instance, let's say you want to give this word, you want to make sure that this shows after clicking this button. How will you do it? We're going to define a function of what, let's say, show word, right? And this function is going to say, okay, whenever this particular button is clicked, what do you want to do? You want this word to display what you just clicked through. So how do you do that? you're going to what? Change the inner HTML or the inner text of this word to what? You just clicked me. So what are you going to do? You can say word dot what? Inner HTML will now be equal to what? You just clicked me. That's all. Now, what you've just done is that you've said, okay, whenever this function is called, this function has not been called, right? It has just been defined. It has not been called. Again, 3 steps. Write your function keyword, define it by giving it a task, and then call it out. That's how you write it. That's how you work with functions. You understand? Now, you've defined it, you've given it a task, but you've not called it, meaning the function will never work. Now, you've just said, oh, I want this particular function to just what? So click me, it's not yet showing. So let's wait for it. I want this particular function to just what? Show, give this particular p tag that is here and change the content to what? You just click me. Now, that's the function. But something has to trigger that function, which is going to be what? This particular button, the click event. Which is why I have to tie that function to this button. So I can just come here and I can say on click. Why? Because it's a click event. That's what I'm saying on click. If there is a change event, I will say what? On change. On change. As you can see, you have a lot of them there. If you say on, see, on abort, on blow, on can play through, on change, on click, a lot of events that you can actually check out, right? But we're going to be using what? On click. Now, on click is now going to what? Call the function what? Show word. So we're going to write show word. That's all. Now, if you come right here now, and then I'm going to refresh and I'm going to click it. As you can see, you see, you just click it. So what did I do here? All I did was that, first of all, I set my function in my JavaScript. And because JavaScript, they're already linked to this particular place, right? I can easily come here and call the function as a what? As an on-click event. This is one way to do it with HTML. And actually, right now, this is, you're not going to use this, but when you move further in JavaScript and you start entering frameworks like React, you will not start using this method more, this on-click method more, especially in React. You use it more. Now, the second part is what? The event listener, right? How exactly does this work? Now, the event listener, so before we write it, let me just explain this. The event listener just works similarly to the on-click. Only that this time, it does not work with HTML. So what am I saying? You don't need to call it with the HTML here at all. You don't need to call it here. All you just have to do is come to your JavaScript and you can now say, oh, since it's an event listener, as everyone here, since an event listener, what exactly are you giving the event? What element are you giving the event? Mr. David. Yeah, what HTML elements here are you giving the event? No. No. Again, look at it. What element are you giving the event? So what element are you expecting that, okay, I need to what? I need to click for something to happen. Exactly, the button. That's what needs the event. So in this place, now you know that in this place, it's the button I gave the on click here. Remember the button, because that's where the event is. Now in this place also, what am I going to give the event? The button also, right? And I already brought the button here. So what I have to do is that what I have to add this event listener to what? To the button. You understand it now? So all I have to do, I can now say btn, which is our button. We brought it out, right? Btn dot what? Add event listener. This is how it works. This is how you write it. This is the method in which you would get in adding an event to a particular element. Now see, add event listener, and then what kind of event are we listening for? A click event. In this case, it's saying on click. Yeah, it's saying click. So if you are using an attribute, what do you use? On click, on change, on something. That's an attribute. But if you are just in your what, your event list and your JavaScript, you just use what? Click. You remove the on. So now, click. Then what do you want? After you click it, you want something to happen. So as you can see, I put a comma. after you've clicked it, you want one particular thing to happen, which is what this particular function of what show word. So all I have to do is what just write show word here. That's all. Show word. And then automatically it is going to work. So if I come here now and I click on click me, as you can see, it still works perfect. You just click it. So do we understand the difference between the event listener now and the and this? Is it clear to everybody? Do you understand this? Which one do you think is better? Which one do you like? This one, Abby? This one. So, but the point is, you need to understand both of them. Do you understand both of them? Can you write a function or can you write a particular thing using both of them? That's the major question. Yeah. The thing is that I've said it multiple times that as a developer, you just have to learn multiple concepts. And when you're now writing code, sometimes you be like, oh, this cannot work here, this works here. This cannot work here, this works here. Sometimes when you're writing code, this is the best method. Sometimes this is the best method. That's just the simple thing. And as I was saying before, when you start using React, most of the times you're using this one, this attribute method. Most of the times you're using the attribute method. I cannot remember the last time I used advent listener as a React developer. Most of the time you're using what advent and this attribute method. But it also depends on you. There are other people that probably just uses, they will still use advent listener. Depending on their framework, depending on what they use. So that's it. But the question is it clear? Both steps, are they clear to you? Starting with, are they clear to you? Getting clear. No. I don't want it to get clear. I need it to be clear. So, what is the issue? What problem do we have with it? Everything. I need to know if it's clear. I will explain one more time. See, this is like the pinnacle of JavaScript. I'm only saying something is the pinnacle, but this, you see, DOM, event, function. See those three, you need to understand them because they are exactly what will make your and variables too. Those four things, you need to understand them, man, because they're exactly what's going to shape your foundation of JavaScript. You can learn objects, you can learn arrays. Those ones are things that you can learn on the way. But you see, those four things, DOM, events, functions, variables, you need to get them. So far, the only thing that I'm looking like everybody understands is variables. I'm not sure we understand functions well. I'm not sure we understand DOM. And I'm not really sure. In fact, I'm 100% sure that we don't understand events. So I need to be sure now, like before I proceed and move to something that will take us to a point of no return. Do we understand this? Before I move on. Okay. Mm. Okay, so I should start uploading videos, I mean. Okay, so all right, I'll upload those videos. Then maybe I'll even send videos to the group. Actually. So maybe I'll just send some videos to the group. So you just 30 minutes videos explaining one core concept, events, explaining one core concept, functions, like that. You maybe understand more. All of these things I used to even shoot videos on them before, but I am not, that's not my line again. So, but the thing is that I can always give you videos to watch, then you can go ahead and watch it. So, but the truth is, I just think, how do I put it? Maybe people are different because how me I learned, right? I spent years watching videos that I don't understand. You understand? It was until I had a mentor. When I say years, like 2, 3 years old, until I had a mentor explain some of these things to me that okay, I now calm down, now sat down. This is right, this is right. So the best thing to just do, I quit. I cannot count the amount of times I stopped writing codes. There's a particular that I didn't even write for like a year plus, almost 2 years. Then I came back. In fact, I fully came back in 2021 or 2021 ending. And I started, okay, and I started writing code. So that was how it was. So, but the major thing is that you should have somebody that you can ask questions. That's why I'm always saying it. You can always ask me questions so that you don't get tired. It's very, very easy to get tired in program. Very easy. Trust me, very easy. You just probably don't understand one concept. You feel like you are way behind, you just stop. And that's how people lose it in programs. So if you know that you don't understand one concept, don't worry, you are not far, they are not too far. Just understand that concept and move on to the next one. Everybody's not going to move at the same pace. No, it's not possible. So okay, so now there's one question that I'm expecting everybody to ask here. Why is it that I just said show word and not show word like this? Nobody asked me the question. Nobody asked me this question. Now, do we understand what this question is? It clear to you, Mr. Kelvin? Okay. Why am I asking this question? There's a reason why I'm asking this question. Please tell me, Mr. Kelvin or Miss. Eh? Okay. No, I'm asking. Yes, this is how to call out the function, right? But I'm asking that why is it like this and not like this? Is already there in the first function. Okay, it's already here. Okay, let me answer it. I wasn't expecting anybody to get it, but let me answer it. So one thing about events is that events are like functions. Please, I need everybody to get this. Events are just they are things that trigger functions. You understand it now? So you know when you write your function normally, what you have to do is that you have to say, can we all say it? When you if you want to call out these functions without just an event, I'll let it show word. Then I'll put this. Now, without this, what's the name? This parenthesis here, your function is not going to get called out. I've said it before. Now, but in this case, now we're not putting the parenthesis. Why? It's because your events are like a trigger to functions. So without this thing is also a trigger. This particular thing here is also a trigger that makes your function work. But since you already have your events and you're wrapping your function in the event, the function already getting what triggered by that event. So you no longer need to what put this particular parenthesis again. All you just have to do is call out your function and then automatically they will be triggered. Now, this particular case here only works with events. You don't do this outside of an event. If you call out a function now and you want to call out and you just write show word like this, it's not going to work. It's going to treat show word as a what? As a variable. So to make it a function that gets triggered, put it like this. Once it is an event, do not need it. Right? All you just have to do is to put this without the parenthesis. Is it clear to everybody? So that's why we do all of these things. Now, this is basically everything about events. Now, you have other events that you can check out. Load, change, a lot of them. Key down, key up. There are lots of events that you can check. Is it clear to everybody? Is it clear? Okay, what's the question?
What they is like this. You start much.
Eh?
I have to remember.
What is it?
It's what they is like that in the reports.
That you start with.
Start much to
I just think everything comes down to passion. So people used to think, let me say this off recording. So let me stop recording. Let me stop recording. Okay, so